Jamie Dimon warns we're facing an economic Armageddon. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.heise here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee, because I thought it's worth having a look at this article discussing warnings from US billionaire Jamie Dimon about, well, tough economic times coming ahead. So let's jump here and have a look at this. Hurricane. US billionaire Jamie Dimon warns of a looming economic bloodbath. A billionaire finance expert has sounded the alarm over a terrifying economic hurricane, which he claims is coming our way. Now, I don't think I got this from Zero Hedge. It sounds like a Zero Hedge article, doesn't it? Just because of the fear. So, JP Morgan Chase CEO, Jamie Dimon, whose financial insights are well respected by Wall Street investors, told attendees at a conference this week that Russia's invasion of the Ukraine, skyrocketing inflation, and interest rate rises by the US Federal Reserve were working together to cause a financial disaster. Mr. Dimon, who has led the largest of the big four American banks since 2005 and who boasts a staggering net worth of $1.8 billion, said he was expecting bad outcomes on the horizon. There are big storm clouds ahead. It's a hurricane. The hurricane is right out there, the road coming our way. We just don't know if it's a minor one or a superstorm, Sandy, and you'll better brace yourself. Mr. Dimon also said the Fed's decision to pause quantitative tightening, a monetary policy tool designed to increase the amount of money supply in the economy, as it simultaneously hiked interest rates, could prove disastrous, claiming people will be writing about this in history books for 50 years. He also warned that the conflict in Ukraine could see the price of oil soar to $175 a barrel, and not enough was being done to protect Europe from the ramifications in the years ahead. Well, this is a lesson I'm hoping we all learn from how European nations have become dependent on, well, Russian oil and gas to meet their energy needs. They go down a ludicrous renewable energy path to virtual signal themselves into subservience. It's pathetic. It really is. Is this just because we've had it too good? What happened with countries concerned about their energy sovereignty? It's all gone, isn't it? No one seems to worry about it. I guess, good times or good times breed soft men, and now we're getting the hard times beginning. So, bad news for Aussies. While Mr. Dimon was speaking specifically about the situation in the US and Europe, his claims can also spell bad news for Australia. In April this year, Deutsche Bank predicted a major recession was looming for the US, claiming the US Federal Reserve's attempts to quell inflation would lead to a more serious downturn than previously anticipated. Well, what they'll do is then they'll just ramp up the money printing. Are we going to start seeing the hidden secrets of money materialize, everyone? Is this the time when precious metals will truly become an inflation hedge? Or Aussie gold, aka Australian property? We will get a major recession, Deutsche Bank economists wrote in an alarming report arguing that it would take a long time before inflation falls down to the target goal of 2%, which therefore meant interest rates would likely be jacked up significantly and in turn would harm the economy. At the time, AMP chief economist Shane Oliver told news.com.au that while a US recession wasn't yet a certainty, a downturn in the US would be bad news for Aussies. It might not really be apparent until later next year. There are a lot of question marks over whether we will see a recession. But if it does happen, it will be bad news for Australia, he said. The US is the world's biggest economy, and it does affect business and consumer confidence. And it does affect demand for our exports simply because the US is part of the global economy, although it's not the same as China, which is our biggest export market. Well, here's another argument. What if the US starts falling over or going into recession, then China ramps up its economic stimulus? That could help Australia. Could be just the GFC all over again. In a sentiment echoed by Peter Martin, visiting fellow at the Australian National University's Crawford School of Public Policy, in a recent article for The Conversation, Australia's biggest economic threat isn't homegrown. It's a recession originating in the United States, Mr. Martin wrote. While he claimed there's a chance we could escape the fallout from yet another US-led global recession, it will require being prepared to change our budget and interest settings in a heartbeat. No. Do you think that's possible in Australia? Maybe. So, meanwhile, Australians are already feeling the pinch after inflation grew by 5.9% in the past year, the largest single-year increase since 2001. According to IBIS World, the biggest factor has been rising fuel prices, which increased by an average 35.1% over the year through March 2022. That has in turn pushed up freight prices for businesses that depend upon the transport of items, and at the same time has seen significant supply chain disruptions coupled with high global and domestic demand, which have caused considerable price increases in food and fuel. I've been enjoying, while I try the carnivore diet, I'm probably more ketovore. I miss the crunch of certain fruit and, a few vegetables. So I like my cabbage. And I'll be buying a cabbage, and I'll pretty much boil it in butter and get it all nice and crunchy, and then eat it with meat or steak. So I've noticed how expensive they've gotten. It's probably because it's been a couple of years since I bought one, but I'm paying like $7 for a cabbage. One cabbage. What's going on? Then you go petrol is getting more expensive. I've got to just watch my $1 7-Eleven coffees. Everything is going up. Yeah, this is inflation. The RBA's wanted that. They've wanted inflation. It's one way to get wages up. According to senior industry analyst Victoria Bakey, consumers and businesses have had to fork out much more at the pump for the same quantity of fuel, which has been a leading contributor to a spike in inflation. So, let's have a talk about this guy. So, almost, it felt like I was looking at a title from a Zero Hedge article. And, they're always more pessimistic with economic news because, that gets the attention. People are concerned. People are worried. Okay, so let's scenario. We get a worst case situation where the US enters recession. Maybe China doesn't increase its economic stimulus. Demand for our exports drops. And Australia enters a recession as well. Now, what are Labor going to do? I'd be shocked if they didn't start rampantly stimulating the economy, flooding it with money, trying to keep everything going. There'll be calls for that now forever. And, what happens when you increase the money supply, guys? And consumer production doesn't meet the demand or doesn't increase as well. We're going to start seeing the price of goods and services increase. Yeah, it's going to be interesting times. The best we can do is prepare for it, keep an eye on what's going on, not let the news frame our thinking too much, and realize that there's always going to be a negative bias to what is being reported and what is being discussed. You need to look at your own patch of dirt, your own family, take care of them first. Anyway, let me know your thoughts and suggestions, everyone. I'll plan to do a video on 5 money-saving tips. If you could let me know some of your suggestions in the comments below, maybe it's time for another, prepare for a recession video to share it around. Anyway, thank you for watching. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. And if you want to support the channel, there are a few ways you can. You can join us on YouTube or Patreon, or use our referral links at Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve, or AussieBroadband. Or if you need an architect, give us a call or drop us an email. Take care, guys. Have a great day. And I'll see you in the next episode of HeiseSays. Here's one tip. Drink cheap coffee. Train yourself to not buy the wanky stuff, Hashtag not sponsored. Get yourself used to instant. That's one way to save.